is for DnT against the control deck of the day. I know in my experience, casting Stoneforge Mystic, sort of Fire and Ice is the key card in this matchup. But I also had the luxury of being able to Force of Will Oko, and DnT has to revoke it in advance, which is not as great. So we will see how this goes.
Right. Looks like our players are just finishing up mulligans right now. Looks like Mr. Jack Dax is doing a mulligan. Zed may have his starting 7 here, it looks like. We're gonna give the players a thumbs up that they are ready to rock and roll. It looks like nope, Mr. Jack Dax, he's gonna be doing another mulligan here. So I was not expecting to have this many problems tonight with OBS Live. Holy crap.
Yeah, OBS has been finicky tonight, to say the least. But when you've got a lot of sources coming in from a lot of online places, network connectivity and things along those lines have always been kind of finicky. So we're going to move onward and we're going to keep going.
Right.
So we've got this match coming up now, and let's see where we're going.
Right. So it looks like Mr. Jack Dax shuffling up. I think he, honestly, I think is he going to 7 here? Or going to 6, I mean? Going to 5? He already went, I think he already went to 6, so we'll see what he's doing here.
That's something I will say for the Snowko lists is that when like Astrolabe is great when you have basics, but when you draw Astrolabe but not the basics, or the basics and not Astrolabe, you run into this awkward problem where you're playing basic forest in your blue control deck.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of Snowko hands where you're like, oh, this is forest island, this is a forest plains brainstorm. Nice.
Right.
And you don't get to do anything.
Right.
So the deck is it's simultaneously clunkier and not as clunky as Miracles is. It's just like a little more min-maxed in that way.
Right. Yeah, I agree. This does have some miracle as an aspect to it, but it's not heavily invested like the miracles list is. It's still got the Terminus. It's still got an Entreat the Angels. It's
there's no counterbalance. It's just the main thing.
Right. Essentially, yeah. And although counterbalance is that's a hell of a card.
Yeah. Although there is a tried and true counterspell, which is also a blue card you would want to hold up on turn 2. So theoretically, there could have been a counterbalance here.
That's true. That's true. And I did see that. You don't see it very often, but that's just my Force of Negations are not enough. My Force of Wills are not enough. I need more. I need 2 mana counter your spell.
And like the predator of this kind of deck are just like the fast combo decks, and counterspell, while not working on turn 1, is usually a good enough second piece of disruption
right
to get there. So I understand why that would be there. Outside of that, looks like the list is pretty standard for Snowko, which is to say there's nothing particularly weird in the 60 as I'm looking at it.
right
Entreat is something that goes in and out, but I think is mostly stock. 3 coatls instead of 2 or 4. I believe 3 to 4 is pretty stock now. The 2 coatl lists that didn't lean as hard into it, I think, have been innovated above now and are no longer the norm.
Right.
Your standard Walker Suite. This is a Snowko list,
Yeah.
Likewise, it doesn't look like there's anything too insane in the DnT list either. There is an Ancient Tomb, which I'm personally in favor of in DnT. I think that's a pretty great card to be playing. There is no Lavabrink Venturer, which I've always felt like is good here. But that's kind of that's a niche card. Admittedly, that's a niche card. It's not stock, so I wouldn't expect it to be here.
Yeah.
It's just a card that I like, that I think is good in these kinds of control matchups. It's not super great against Plow or Ice Fang, but it's good against one of them, and that's good enough sometimes. So
yeah, I agree. It looks like Zed's going to take a mulligan here. Mr. Jack Dax he's going to be on 7. So in just a few seconds here, we'll be ready to rock and roll. I have honestly, I don't play a whole lot on Moto anymore. I have not played against a lot of Snowko lists without usually on Infect when I do. just because they weren't really when I was still playing Death and Taxes, they were just starting to come around. So, and the
The
lists were very different.
I've played against a decent amount of Snowko, playing various 4 Aether Vial 56 piles on Mitgo.
Right.
And I can say for pretty certain that the best way to attack Snowko is to try and shut off the random cantripping permanents. So like I would have loved to see. I know these players don't get to metagame against whoever they're playing against. They're just playing whatever their stock list is. But I personally think Spirit of the Labyrinth is about as good as it's ever been in DnT right now, and I would have loved to see one of those in this list somewhere. But it's a non-vote with Recruiter, so it's kind of a hard sell.
Right. Looks like
I
Zed's
think
going to lead off with a Ponder
that's the
here.
best card in this matchup. Yeah, most of my experience against Snowko has been playing blue vial decks that can force Yoko again, and DnT doesn't have that luxury. 3 Revokers should go a long way here. I think that's a bit more than the stock number.
Right. Ooh,
So
force a negation against the Aether Vial.
Yeah, that's key. Casting the vial and him interrupting your Snowko opponent is good, and if it resolves, it's especially great given all the counter magic here. The downside here is that Zed actually got to use force negation on something, which sometimes doesn't actually ever happen. That's one of the ways DnT can win. Is the Snowko player just draws, a negate for non-creature spells while they're just like casting Stoneforge Mystic, and they just kind of throw their hands in the air and go, "Ooh, nice! This card doesn't do anything."
Right.
So,
well, and like you said, they can't metagame against each other. So,
yeah,
Mr. Jack Dax had no idea that he was going to be up against is it? Oh, he's got does have a second vial.
Second vial is good, especially the first one. Guy. Ooh, is this going to be the? Is this the counterspell?
Oh man, it could be. But like literally, that's 8 counterspells main deck in this.
Yeah. But frankly, if I'm Jack Dax here, I am generally pretty thrilled to
There's a counterspell.
Spend their there it is. That's the one counterspell. I'm generally pretty have my opponents spend their counter magic on 1-mana artifacts that don't kill them.
Right.
Like it's bad in the long run, but in the short term, it's pretty good. Especially since Zed does not have an Astrolabe on the battlefield and has 2 basic islands in their pretty strongly 3-color deck. The concern here is that Tundra is not great. Tundra Pass is also not great. I would love to see. There's the Wasteland. That's huge.
Takes the Tundra. A float of mana.
Yeah.
He's gonna pass. He's gonna port an island. Nope. Stoneforge.
Stoneforge?
Yep.
Yes. There it is.
Oh.
I think I'm slightly behind you, but I don't think it should be that big of a deal.
No.
Yeah, jamming Stoneforge when your opponent is kind of flailing around trying to get their mana together is huge. Especially, again, since those vials got countered.
Right.
There would be a counterspell up right now. Otherwise, well, I guess there wouldn't be because it's cast in second main. But
right
is an interesting call here. I guess it's better than Batterskull against impending Ice Fangs.
That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, if that's basically going to be his threat is Snapcaster Mage and Ice Fang Quaddles.
Does Jack Dax have a Sword of Fire and Ice in the main? Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
I would like to see Sword of Fire and Ice there personally, but tapped Mystic Sanctuary Pass is definitely where you want to be on the DnT side. I personally would have gotten Sword of Fire and Ice here to try and get ahead on cards, take advantage of your opponent while they're stumbling.
Right.
But this would be a savage time for Ancient Tomb.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. Yep, yeah. Mistress Factory. But that's something me and Mr. Jack Dax both run a copy of Mistress Factory. It's just a great threat that is really hard to get rid of, which is nice.
Yeah, the man lands are pretty good here. Especially when your opponent isn't representing Ice Fang Coatl.
Yeah.
Although only having 1 white source isn't the best thing, not the best place to be.
Right.
Especially since you can't actually port here. Not that porting here really does all that much.
Like he'll get in with Stoneforge.
Attacking with the Stoneforge.
Well, probably because he doesn't really have a way to protect Stoneforge. If he does equip Jete, he's just wasting.
I guess. But that GTA is not hitting the table for an additional 2 turns now.
Right.
End step port looks like.
Yeah, he'll try to hold him off in as much as he can.
Yeah.
This way he can't, if he doesn't have another land, he can't Snapcaster Ponder. Keeps him off at least cantrip.
Is that a second port there?
That's, yeah, he's got a second port, and it looks like he's going to pass the turn. Going to double port. Oh.
I would be on board for a single port put in GTA and end of turn, but
Right. There's a Astrolabe right there. It's going to draw him a card.
that's huge from Zed's side.
Well, now he's got his mana fixing.
Yeah. You heard a bang there. I hit my knee on my desk.
And your camera fell back.
I've disappeared. Oh yeah, I messed with my mic.
He did just put the Jitte to play, so. Oh, and he's.
And we're back. Okay.
Yeah. So Stoneforge got Swords to Plowshare.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Now I would love to see a Revoker here. Revoking Astrolabe is an underrated line in this kind of matchup.
Right.
Especially right now. I mean, I don't know if it's an underrated line right now when it's pretty clearly devastating. Something going on?
Yeah. Sure. Is he thinking end step or?
Does that have predicts?
I actually don't think he does. I didn't see it in the list.
Checking. Survey says no.
Looks like he's attacking with Mishra's Factory. Or it looks like he's. Yeah, he put Jitte on it and then attacked. So that's pretty big. I like that. Because now he's got a Jitte.
Without actually spending any cards.
Correct.
Great.
And now he's got a Jitte that's got counters on it. He doesn't need it to be equipped to a creature. Now he's got even more that he can.
Basic Forest is real good there. Now even revoking the Astrolabe isn't great, but no Oko gives hope for the home team here.
Right. Actually, is he? Yeah, how many Okos is he running? I know he's on Jace and Teferi and 3 Okos.
I want to say 3.
2 Mind Sculptors and 1 Little Teferi.
Yes.
3 Fairy, 3 Furious.
Which is admittedly pretty short on things that actually. I don't know. Actually, no. That's more things that win the game than normal. The one thing I can say that's notable about this list is that there's no Uro in it.
Right. Looks like
so.
We got a Thalia coming in.
Thalia's decent, a little late, but not bad.
Right. At least he's got a threat he can equip Jitte to now.
Yeah. The question is really, are you attacking with Mishra's Factory here, or are you passing and porting? Because I'm not really sure porting does a ton here. It shuts off double color spells that aren't blue, but I don't think Zed has any of those.
And there's your Revoker.
That's big. Revoking Astrolabe, still great here. Do we get a written indication of what is being revoked?
I'm assuming he's...
No,
I would assume so, just because he was on 1 forest. But he did, in response, cast his Icefang Quaddle.
Okay. Because I think there's an argument to be made for revoking Astrolabe or Oko here.
True, because now he's got the mana too.
Yeah. Because if you revoke Astrolabe and they have Oko, then they shut off your Astrolabe, and then you don't have... Then it doesn't matter. But the Flooded Strand is going to make the mana just fine, even without the Astrolabe. So I would hope the Revoker is on Oko, but we will see. There is a... Looks like it's... does that say Oko?
Yeah.
Can't quite read it.
No, I can't either.
No, I think it says Labe.
It does say Labe, yeah. There's another Swords.
Makes sense.
Yep. So...
Cloud being pointed at the Revoker. I'm not sure that actually matters all that much.
I don't think so either, because he's already got his mana fixing.
Pointed at something else.
Right.
I mean, you've already got your plains and your forest and your island. Your mana's not going anywhere. Port can shut off a color for a turn, but you're not really under a ton of pressure if you have a plow.
Right.
How many cards does Jack have in hand? Do we know?
I haven't I can't really see. I'm assuming that's his hand. It looks like it's maybe 3 cards he might have.
Okay.
He's going to equip to Thalia here, it looks like.
How many does Zed have? Looks like 4?
Yeah, maybe even less. No, it looks like he's got 2.
2 or 3. Okay,
Yeah,
two's
2.
not. Two's a decent place. Um,
Oh, it's 3. He does have 3.
3. Okay, so it's 3 to 3.
Mm-hmm. Looks like I know Mr. Jack Dax just re-sleeved his deck, so his sleeves are going to be pretty. Looks like he's going to remove a counter, kill off Ice Fang Quaddle.
Of note, that block does not blocking there. If you just let the Ice Fang die, you just get counters because the first strike damage will kill the Ice Fang before the Death Touch matters.
Right.
So if he blocks with the Ice Fang there, you don't have to use a GT counter.
Right.
In fact, you cheat yourself out of getting more GT counters.
Right. Exactly.
So I would not have. I don't know if that was a good line, so
He's,
to speak.
looks like he's going to STP Thalia.
Makes sense.
Yep. He's just got every answer.
He does, but like these 1-for-1s are not necessarily benefiting Zed at the moment.
No.
There's a lot of top decks that blow this game wide open. Palace Jailer on this board is insane, especially if you GT counters, stopping a Ice Fang from doing anything.
Yep. Looks like he's going in with a Mishra's Factory. Gonna get.
It's a good identification here that porting no longer matters.
Yep.
Pumping the factory there is interesting, given that there is no Lab is free, so that's a risky line in case he has another plow. I guess he's already used 2.
Right.
Right. So and he only 3 mana.
Actually,
Snap plow line.
I think he's used 3, hasn't he? Stoneforge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Revoker.
Does Jack Dax have a remorseful cleric?
He does not. Not in his list.
I personally I'm really fond of remorseful cleric, so I would love to have that.
Oh, that's what he did. His Mystic Sanctuary. Oh, he just put it with his second Mystic Sanctuary. He just put it on top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still though, that's costing Zed a draw step. That's just kind of treading water. I don't know if that's a super great. I don't know if you feel super great about that.
Not really, although he's going to be able to get it. He's going to remove the counters. He's going to do as much damage as he can right now.
Yeah. Down
and
5.
I don't think that STP is actually going to do enough right now.
It also doesn't really matter as there is a Caracas on Jack Dax's side, so
correct.
That is not even actually getting removed.
No.
This is one of the best places you can be as DnT, where you have free mana to port things willy-nilly, and you've got the infinite threat there.
Yep, I agree.
It's just a 2-1, but it'll get there if Zed can't produce a clock, and given that Zed is drawing Swords of Plowshares this turn.
Yeah, I really don't see a way that 4-color control is really going to be able to come back from this.
Yeah. I guess you would have to slam Oko right now.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like he's got it.
So he's going to activate.
That is the worry here. How many cantrips did Zed actually cast this game? 2?
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot. A couple ponders.
No, one actually.
Yeah, because the other one he
one of those got Pitch to a Force.
So. Right.
So if you don't really get to sculpt your hand all that much, then DnT just has more threats than you have removal spells. So, and like there hasn't been a Terminus or anything here. Let's see what Zed's got. There's that plow from earlier.
Yep.
Jack chooses not to bounce
and plays another Thalia.
That explains a lot, I guess. Although, you know what? I would probably still bounce unless you need to use all your mana explicitly, which okay, no, I guess this line allows you to hold up the Caracas for Thalia on Zed's turn.
Right.
So that's probably better than holding the extra card in hand.
Yep, I agree. So now he's got a Thalia.
I'll pass still.
And he's got enough mana now where he could port. Oh, it's pretty much over unless he's got an answer. Snapcaster.
Looks like Snapcaster.
So he'll remove a counter, kill the Snapcaster,
Yeah.
and then use the other one to pump. But he's gonna STP Thalia.
Makes sense.
Yep. And he'll Caracas. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
So now it's basically a positioning game.
So yeah, Jack can redeploy the Thalia to keep a threat on the table, which it looks like he's going to do. So shields are kind of down right now.
Yep. If he's got another
Uh,
Snapcaster, I
you got
think
enough
he's
Snapcasters, okay, but there's still a Mishra's Factory there,
right.
and still an active GT. Well, not an active GT, but a GT with counters on it. So
If he's got another Snapcaster, I don't. He's got one STP that's exiled, and I think he's got another one in his graveyard.
yeah, that's it's interesting. Again, this is one of the reasons why I like Remorseful Cleric. That would be a monster top deck.
Yeah, I
Although I
agree.
guess it would be better if Zed had Uros in his deck, but he does not. So
Right.
be interested to hear his decision point regarding no Uros. I think most of the 4C snow lists I see trend that way now.
There's another Snapcaster.
Yeah.
There's another STP.
Takes out the take out the Snapcaster.
Yep.
But there's just not that many removal spells left in Zed's deck at this point. Just not that many. Like 2 of the plows are down. There's 1 in the graveyard. I think that's both Snapcasters now. I don't think there's any more of those. So yeah, that's 2 out of 2 Snapcasters. So there's 1 more plow and the 3 terminuses and Oko's Teferi Jace if they count as removal spells, which they softly do.
Which they do, in a sense. But
Yeah.
this is pretty much gonna be it. He's laid Thalia out. He's got 1 mana up. No Caracas for protection.
Yeah.
This could be the turning point right. Gonna drop a is it an Oko? There's Oko.
3 mana. Looks like Oko, yeah. There it is. That is 4 mana, actually.
Yep. I need another mana.
Hopefully make sure they cover that.
Let's see.
Might want to go and shoot.
Let him know here, yeah. Yep, there he goes. He's got it.
Okay. There we
go. There's his food, and he's going to pass. So he does not have... He can crack the food. That'll gain him some life.
Yeah. Jack has 2 attackers still. How many Ice Fangs have we seen out of Zed? 1?
1. Yep, I've only seen 1 so far.
Absolutely brutal. Because there's no counters left on the GTA, so that would just get to block whatever.
Yeah.
That would almost seal the game, really.
Well, and that's just it.
It was devastating here.
Yeah, he's got this churn.
Yeah. Revoker, I think, locks the game for Jack Dax. This is the turn.
Yep. And
we will see what happens.
Touching mana. Gonna whip. He's gonna activate Mishra's Factory. Yep.
Of note, if Jack blocked the Ice Fang and didn't use the counter to kill it, he would have 2 more counters on his GT, and he would have lethal here.
That is true.
So just goes to show, like in these kinds of matchups, every little thing counts. I picked up my coffee like there was anything left in there.
So it looks like he's is going to use that open mana. He's going to crack the food. He's going to gain 6 life. And
Go up anyway.
yep, and then he's going to go back down to 4. Or go down by 4.
Yeah.
I'll put him at 2. He's got 2 counters. And pretty sure Thalia.
Okay. Thalia does not tap for mana. Does a
No.
lot of other things. Does not tap for mana.
However, he can take his Jitte.
Stealing the Jitte is interesting here. You would steal, but you wouldn't get any counters.
No.
And then you would die. It looked like, just from something I saw really quick on the camera, it looks like Zed has a Terminus in his hand that he's stuck with. And you
So
can't really pass it here.
So he just passed.
Yeah. It looks like he has an awkward Terminus stranded in his hand. So Brainstorm locks this game.
Yep.
That would be devastating.
Big.
He could still have the Brainstorm. I don't know. I haven't seen the rest of his hand. I just think there's a Terminus in there just from looking.
Yeah, the first strike, and that's just it. I think that's the second time where the first strike would have worked as an advantage, and he's used the Jitte counters as a disadvantage as a removal. But because he really, if he had 4, maybe even 6, and Jitte can pump any creature. So
well, no, it only pumps the equipped creature.
Does it?
So yeah, I'm not sure what they're talking about in the chat. I think Chaotic Bear's got the right idea. I know I played a game against Force Loam a long time ago where this came up and it was very relevant.
Yeah. Oh, there's a Force.
It looks like, is this the Hardcast Force?
It was against the Revoker. And now
he doesn't have the mana to crack his food.
Nope. And that's it.
And he's dead.
Yep.
I think. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. That was quite a game.
It does, right?
Right.
If he plussed on a Lab, he would die because there was 2 attackers. Yeah, so Jack Dax ended up pulling that one out, although he could have won that one a little while earlier. So if he watches this VOD, just note to self, that was in fact game 1. This is a grindy matchup. So
yeah.
Everyone should sit tight and get ready.
Because there's gonna be plenty more. Yeah.
Let's look at the sideboards here and see what we've got.
Yeah, I'm assuming I pulled up the wrong list.
So looking from the Snowko side, Needle is great here.
Yep.
None of the red cards do anything.
No.
Man, there's really not much. Needle, Return to Nature. I personally think Mentor is really good here. I would bring that in.
Maybe Containment Priest?
Containment Priest is okay.
It's only a one of, but it would catch something if it needed to.
When you draw it and they don't have Vial, it's so awkward. I don't really know if hating on Vial is so important that you would bring it in.
No. Monastery Mentor would be...
It's probably fine, though. It's probably... Okay, let's put it this way. So, this is usually a function of, like, what comes out from Snowko, and, like, I would... Depending on how all-in you are on making Vial not resolve, you could board out Forces and the Force Negation. I don't think that's a great plan. Force Negation could probably come out. Veils have to come out because they do not.
Correct.
So that's -2, maybe -4, and then you get Needle, 2 Natures, Mentor.
And then...
That's a clean cut.
I would agree with that. Because really, you're not hating any graveyard. Anything that's up against blue decks, he's not going to run. I mean, there's
an argument for boarding in the Steam Vents just to have an additional land against a mana denial strategy, but I don't think you have cards in your main deck that are bad enough to justify doing that.
No, I would agree with you there. I think what he really wants to do is he needs to get an early board presence. He needs to get a Planeswalker, and he needs to just grind out. outgrind Death and Taxes.
Of note, he's going to be on the play this game, so slamming that one up Teferi on turn 3 is just so brutal in this matchup. Like the plus doesn't really do anything, but just like bouncing a Vial with Teferi feels so bad.
Especially if
when
it's
the
sitting
Vial
at
comes up.
2 counters. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's brutal. So on the DnT side, there's a lot more going on regards to good cards in the sideboard.
Would absolutely
Chalice,
bring in Cataclysm.
Needle's a slam dunk. Cataclysm's a slam dunk.
Yeah.
Uh, Gideon's a slam dunk.
Yep.
Council's Judgment is fine. I would consider that. Rest in Peace, I personally think is fine here. I don't know if Jack Dax is operating under the assumption that there's no Uros. Given that there's no Uros, you probably don't need Rip, but if there was Uros, I would bring it in.
Yep.
In the dark, I would probably not bring it in because you can plow Uro at least, and you're leaving some number of plows in your deck because of Elks and possible Mentor and Ice Fangs.
Right.
So I think that's probably fine. You don't bring in Path, you don't bring in Surgical.
I think
if you're a Greed Machine, you can Surgical Plow or something, but I don't think.
And what do you take out? Do you take out the Thalias?
No, I would leave. Well, if you're on the draw, Thalia is not as great, but like any deck that's trying to brainstorm, Thalia is probably good.
Right.
At the end of the day, making Planeswalkers cost 1 more is probably enough of an argument to keep Thalia in itself.
True. The Revokers have to stay.
Revokers have to stay.
Mirror Crusaders.
Mirror Crusaders are great. They get through Ice Fangs just fine. Geez, I'm not really sure. There's an argument for cutting Stoneforges against Oko because they're kind of anemic, but at the end of the day, if they elk an equipment, you still got to put a 3/3 into play.
True. That is very true. I think I would cut my Stoneforge. I personally think I would cut my Thalia in half, or at least 1 Thalia, and I would cut.
Yeah, you can trim a Thalia on the draw pretty safely.
Yep, and I think I would cut half my Stoneforges out. Sanctum Prelate, I think, is still a slam dunk here. Sanctum Prelate on 1, it shuts this deck down. You know.
Yeah. Sanctum Prelate on 1 is very good. I wouldn't go so far as to say it shuts the deck down. I mean,
it does a very good job.
A lot of cards, but it turns off fewer cards than against like traditional miracles.
True. That is
like,
a
they
good
can still
fact.
entreat the angels, which is brutal.
Right.
They can still turn us. They can still do all those things.
And
at the end of the day, I don't really know what you cut here. Like all of the DnT cards are pretty good. Flicker Wisp actually does. Flicker Wisp, it's such a Swiss Army knife. I would always like hesitate to cut it, but I guess you could trim 1.
I don't think
4 to 3 is usually pretty safe.
I don't think there's really any circumstance where I've pulled a Flicker Wisp out and actually felt good about it.
All right.
Flicker Wisp
I
does
DnT
so much.
affiliated decks. I don't actually play DnT, so
right. Yeah, I would bring in Chalice. I think I'd bring in a Cataclysm. I don't know if I'd bring in a Gideon, although Gideon would be good, but we just saw he also had great game in game 1. So
he did, yeah. Although I think a lot of that came down to Zed just took a really long time to put a threat on the table.
Yeah. Yeah, he did kind of stumble a little bit. Having heavy blue without having an Astrolabe right away was, I think it hurt him a lot.
Yeah, there was a good 2 or 3 turns at the beginning of the game where he just didn't really get to do anything.
Right. Well, looks like they're drawing hands here. That'll be on the play.
Zed did mulligan that last game, didn't he?
He did mulligan once, yeah. So that was his sixth hand.
Yeah. All right, let's see what everyone is doing.
Like he's got a keeper. And it looks like yeah, it looks like they're going live.
All right. Let's see where Zed starts us off.
He's gonna use his Prismatic Vista and go get a forest. Yep.
Interesting that you would get basic forest first.
Unless
I'm assuming Astrolabe is being cast here. That's
right.
The only thing it's really castable off basic forest. Unless you board it in Carpet Flowers for some reason.
Or a Pithing Needle.
Oh, Needle. Okay. That works.
I'm assuming that's going to be on the Vial.
Yeah. You can't. I mean, like you can name like Stoneforge or something, but Vial is definitely the best thing to name in the dark.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like a couple of seconds behind you because I'm staring at the Twitch stream itself. So.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. So. Let's see.
I think he just.
This is Plains Pass, right?
Yeah, I think so too. There's a Flooded Strand.
I will say this is one of the few matchups where Plains Pass doesn't feel the worst thing to do on the draw here. Oh, there's Ancient Tomb. Okay.
Yep.
We're getting somewhere now.
Ancient Tomb is such an all-star deck.
Oh,
Even without Walking Ballista, I still feel like it's just it's a great one of.
it does so many random things in
Mhm.
the matchup. Again, I would like to when I see Ancient Tomb in DnT lists, I personally think that there should be more two generic costs in the things that are going on, but it's
Right.
really not that important. In the late game, it does more than enough.
The best part is it allows you to equip with one tap.
Yeah, that's the really big thing.
Yeah.
Just hard cast GT there.
Kind of interesting.
I don't know how I feel about that. I wonder how heavily Jack's hand hinged on that Vial resolve.
I'm assuming he's probably got maybe a Stoneforge, or not a Stoneforge, but a STP.
Yeah.
Waiting.
Does this end step fetch for a return to nature?
I wonder if he's going to put a Quaddle into play.
Quaddle into play would be good. It would be better than killing the GT here. I think.
It is return to nature. Man.
Oh, really? Okay.
There goes the GT. So
do that now. There's no creatures on the table. Like, I guess if you have nothing else to do with your mana, it's probably fine. But
true.
I don't know if that's. I think you can set yourself up for some great blowouts by saving.
Yeah.
No threat on 3 there.
No.
So
And
Jack probably feels pretty good about that.
And he may have missed a land drop here too.
No, Zed played a land. I think he's
Jack.
Oh, Jack, yeah. Yeah, missing a land drop here is brutal. There's so many double white cards in DnT that you just can't cast in this. No, he's got it.
Thanks and prelate. Nope, Flicker Wisp.
Okay. I assume you just target your own planes here.
Probably, so you can hold up removal.
Yeah. Has he chosen a target for that Flicker Wisp yet, or is he still thinking about it?
I think he's still thinking about it.
Yeah, my mic is really sensitive to when I accidentally hit things on my desk, so I'm just like mentioning that. Ooh,
Flicker Wisp did get a counter, yeah.
Okay. That's probably fine if you're on the DnT side. Flicker Wisp doesn't really do a ton here. It's basically just a 3-1, so I think you're probably okay with that getting countered.
True. There's a Misty Rainforest.
Of note, no safe white source here yet. Yeah, sometimes it feels like I'm sitting at a drum kit. I've had people in other Discords complain about that a lot. I keep moving my mic higher and higher away from my desk, and it keeps just not mattering.
I wonder if you put it in like one of those little, well, you don't have a mic arm, so you can't have a mic. One of those.
I do have a mic arm now, actually, so
do
that's why I keep moving higher.
Oh, dude, yeah. get a shock mount. They're like super cheap.
I probably should.
Yeah, the shock mounts, it takes all that stuff away.
That's probably a good thing to do if I'm here more often. Anyway,
right.
We have a mentor being slammed here, but it's a mentor being slammed with just green mana up.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting.
I wonder if there's just like force blue card in hand and it doesn't really matter. I think I would probably just leave up an island here no matter what. It's like
just to fake it out.
Veil Summer, like there's no green instance in the Snowko list that aren't Veil Summer, right?
There's a Chalice on 1.
Chalice on 1, pretty good here, but a little late in the face of an active mentor, especially if that shuts off Jack's own plows to get rid of it.
And it looks like, is that a Mirror Crusader?
Mirror Crusader is all right here. It blocks. That's not the worst thing in the world, but like any spell from Zed lets him take that off the table. They'll trade for the mentor, but
which
he's got 14.
Chalice on 1 actually shut all those spells off though.
Well, you can still just like cast something into the Chalice and get a prowess trigger.
True. But he can't remove the Mirror Crusader.
No, but the problem is like Jack can't remove the mentor here, and I honestly feel like that might be more dangerous.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially since Jack's only at 14 now because of the Ancient Tomb.
Yeah, it's done its job.
From under the ancient, he's getting out from needing to tap the Ancient Tomb, so he's making land drops. So that's good.
Yeah, coming.
Yeah, Council Judgment would be good. I don't know if he boarded that in, but that would be very good here.
That actually really would. That'd be an answer that gets around big time.
Mhm. The concern that I have about Council's Judgment is that would take up Jack's basically his whole turn. And if Zed has Force of Negation in his deck, which would be a reasonable choice if he's afraid of Cataclysm or Gideon, um, that would be a devastating blowout. We're tapping 2. Stoneforge is fine. That
Mm-hmm.
that helps beat Mentor.
And it looks like
There's
it's
no
going to
DnT
resolve.
yet, but Batterskull locks down the board pretty nicely here.
Sort of Fire
Sword of
Nice.
Fire and Ice, still incredible. Still the king after all these years. Yep, there's the Sword of Fire and Ice. I don't know. I'm a pro Sword of Fire and Ice kind of guy. I just get Sword of Fire and Ice all the time.
Yeah, seeing
Just like I don't
I'm
want to
literally
play.
get Jitte. That's like my go-to always.
Yeah,
Batterskull, I probably get Batterskull a little too much over what I should. But if I'm against a blue or a red deck, I mean it's sort of Fire and Ice is the first thing I'll grab.
oh yeah. Like my Stoneforge experience comes from spirits, so I don't have a Batterskull to get, but like
Right?
I just grab Sword of Fire and Ice all the time, even
Yeah.
though I have to get. Yeah, I agree with the assessment that it feels a little too early to get Batterskull here.
Yeah, I agree.
You've got the Snowko opponent on the back foot here with your Chalice. You're winning the mana war. You can't shut off the white mana anymore because of the Windswept Heath, but
And he just
Wasteland is still real good here.
yep, take him off Tundra.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, and you can just put that sort of Fire and Ice into play right now, I believe. Choosing
He,
to do
he
that.
attacked.
Is that an attack?
We
Is
didn't
that an
attack.
activation?
There we go. Okay. I was gonna say I would
Yeah.
be extremely surprised if
Yeah,
he
that would be a very suspect attack here.
okay, so he's gonna go to 12. He's gonna put Fire and Ice on Mirren Crusader, and he's gonna get busy.
Oh yeah. So you can just, I would, if you have any instant here, just chuck it and make a token block.
Well, because if he doesn't, he's gonna draw 2 cards. He's gonna deal
Well, yeah,
4 damage. It's gonna be devastating. Yeah, there you go.
like, oh, he doesn't either chooses not to sacrifice a card into the chalice on 1 to get a random monk to block with, or doesn't have one.
Wow.
That's a rough beat there. I would definitely. It looks like he didn't even block.
No, I think because Mirren Crusader's got trample, so.
Well,
Oh no, he
have
doesn't. No, he doesn't have trample. He's just got double strike.
Yeah.
It's just that's a crap ton of damage. I mean,
Yeah, and the Revoker's Revoker on Oko probably locks this game up.
yeah.
I'm not really sure. You would have to draw at 7. You would have to draw Teferi to bounce the Chalice, and then plow something, and then you're still looking at really bad damage.
Right. And
I don't know.
like was pointed out, those 2 cards that got drawn, that is huge.
Oh yeah, that's insane. Um, so I would be Needles on Vile, yeah. Um, yeah, that's gonna do it.
Yeah,
Looks like.
that looks like they're scooping up. So
Yeah, Zed not finding a single terminus in those 2 games is probably pretty brutal. Looks like he
which
had Teferi in hand there.
right, but he did
Teferi,
have Entreat the Angels.
yeah, it was his plan.
Yeah,
Yeah, showing the brainstorm and the entreat that he couldn't. I guess that was the win con there, and Chalice shut that off. So
which was a great play. I mean, to be able to sniff that out that at that moment, this is when I should drop Chalice. I mean,
especially since like when there's a mentor on board, it's really intimidating to shut off your own plows. Because like Chalice on 1 doesn't come for free in DnT. You've got like other stuff. So like you've got moms, you got vials, you got plows you can draw. Like when you drop that, it's not a free thing you have. So especially in the face of a mentor like that, when you're taking damage from Ancient Tomb, it's a heads up play from Jack that I like a lot.
no, I agree. Well, guys, these guys are going to lick their wounds, put their decks away, We will be back in just a little bit with our third and final round. Hopefully OBS doesn't crash. I appreciate you guys sticking around. Today's been one heck of a night for my OBS live. So, I think the next two decks we have, I think we've got Ant up against Titan Post. So that should be ridiculously cool. So if you guys hang out, we'll be back in just a few minutes.